Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. My name is Geraldine and I'm the Paper Puffin Studio, and I'm going to show you how to make these interactive flashcard type of greeting cards. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. So here's a couple of examples that I've previously made, and I'll just show you how these work. There's one. And a second one. And the one I'm going to show you today will have a Christmas theme. Hope you enjoy the video. At this point, I'm going to go through with you all the pieces of cardstock that you're going to need for this project. So for the base of your card, you need a piece of cardstock that measures 8 inches by 5.5 inches. You'll need a piece of cardstock that measures 5 7/16 inches by 5 1/16 inches. For your mechanism, you're going to need a piece that measures 2 3/8 by 5 3/8. And then you'll need 2 pieces that each measure 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. Now for the white cardstock, we need a piece that is 5 3/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches, a piece that is 5 5/16 inches by 2.5 inches, a piece that is 4 1/8 of an inch and 3 1/8, and 2 pieces that are 2 inches by 2 inches. For the designer series paper, we're going to need a piece that measures 5 3/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches. You're going to need a piece that's 5 5/16 inches by 2 3/8 inches, and 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 inch by 2 1/4 inch. Then finally, your last piece is a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 inch by 3 1/4 inch. At this point, I'm just going to go through the basic layout of the card just to give you an idea about where we're going to go with this. So here's the base, and I'm taking the larger piece of white cardstock, and that's going to end up on the inside of the card. On the front of this piece, I will have the DSP, the frame color or the background color, and then the piece of white cardstock that I'll place the image on. This will be the mechanism. This will be the inside flap, which will have on the right side this piece of DSP, and on the left side the white cardstock. And then the squares are going to be assembled like this, with the base, the DSP, and the white overlapping. The largest piece of cardstock, which measured 5 1/2 by 8, and I'm going to score it at 4 inches. Now I'll take the piece of cardstock, which is almost a square shape, and the short side will go at the top of my cutter, and I'm going to score at 2 11/16. So that's 2 1/2 and 3 more notches. Now, in order to identify where I want to place the mechanism, I need to make a pencil line on my card. So I place the card down. I've already attached the white cardstock on the inside, and I'm going to line up my ruler with the score line. I want to make a mark at the center of that score line, and because this was 5 1/2, I'm going to make a mark at 2 3/4 inches. And hopefully you can see that in the camera. It's right here. Now, to ensure that my mechanism gets attached to the card properly, I also need to mark a center point on the mechanism. You'll see here that I have the smaller score line area over here, so I'm going to make the marking on this side. And the marking is going to be at the halfway point, which is 1 3/16. So I'll try to show you here in the camera, you can see it. So it's marked at 1 3/16. I have a score line here, here, and here. Now, continuing to work on the mechanism, I have to make a mark at the 2.5 inch point at the top and the bottom. Note that the small score line or the small piece is over here, and I'm going to be measuring 2.5 from this edge. So I'll line up my ruler and I'll make a mark at 2.5 inches at the top, and then again I'll make a mark at 2.5 inches at the bottom. So I have a mark here and here. And now I'm going to score from this pencil mark to this intersection at the score line, and this pencil mark to this intersection to make an X across the paper. At this point, I'm going to take the mechanism that's been scored and folded, and I'm going to attach it to the base of the card. I have to place glue on this flap. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to line up the little mark that I made right at the center with the little mark I made on the base of the card in the center, and it'll just be in front of the score line. So just so you can see, it's placed like that. I'm going to give that just a moment to adhere. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to tuck in that little flap on the edge here, and it's going to get glued onto this back piece. So I'm going to place some glue on here, and I'm going to attach it to the base of the card. Now you'll see that when I go to close the card, it's going to fold like that. So I'm just going to give it a minute now to adhere. At this point, I'm going to work on the inside flap. Remember, this piece was cut at 5 7/16 by 5 1/16, and I scored it at 2 11/16. Now I'm going to take the strip of designer series paper, and it will go on one side. And then I stamped an image on the white cardstock, and that's going to get attached on the other side. At this point, I've assembled the front of the card and the two inside cards. Now I'm going to take the two inside pieces, and they're going to get attached to the mechanism. You'll see there's a little triangular place here and here, and that's where they're going to get placed. I'm choosing to place the one with the ornaments on the top and the one with the sentiment on the bottom. So I'm going to be putting some glue on the mechanism and attaching these two pieces. Now I'm going to get the inside flap ready and attach it to the mechanism. You'll see I've placed the glue on that portion of the mechanism. I'm going to be lining up the inside flap with the edge of that mechanism, and then I'll press it down to attach. Oops, I'm going to attach it here. Now I'm going to place glue on this portion and attach it to that side. Now I'm going to assemble the front of the card. So I have the card opened. So here's the inside. The card opened. I'm going to place the DSP, Designer Series paper, here, and then I'll place the front panel here. I've adhered the front panel of Designer Series paper using snail, and now I'm going to attach using dimensionals the front panel. And now I'll show you how this card works. So here's the front of the card. You open it and you have the two flashcards appear. Thank you.